Carus was a Roman emperor who reigned briefly, succeeding Probus after his unexpected death. His rise to power is wrapped in uncertainty, as the events surrounding Probus's assassination and Carus's own ascension are shrouded in mystery, with various ancient sources offering conflicting accounts of his actions and motivations. Carus's exact birth date and origins remain unclear, but it is generally accepted that he was born in the early part of the 3rd century CE. His full name was Marcus Aurelius Carus, and he hailed from the province of Narbonensis in Gaul. While little is known about his early life, it is clear that Carus had a successful military and administrative career. He was a trusted officer under the Emperor Probus, eventually rising to the position of Praetorian Prefect, an important role overseeing the emperor's bodyguards and playing a key part in the day-to-day functioning of the imperial government. As Praetorian Prefect, Carus was deeply involved in military affairs, including Probus's campaigns to secure the empire's borders against various barbarian incursions. Probus had been a highly active and popular emperor, having achieved considerable success in quelling external threats and restoring stability to the empire after the chaos of the previous decades. However, his stern and sometimes unpopular policies, particularly his demands for soldiers to engage in agricultural labor to support the empire's military economy, generated discontent among the Roman military elite. The precise circumstances of Probus's death remain a topic of historical debate. Ancient sources such as the Historia Augusta suggest that Probus was murdered by members of his own army in 282 CE, likely due to dissatisfaction with his policies. Whether Carus had any direct involvement in Probus's assassination is uncertain, but many historians believe that he may have played a role in orchestrating the killing or, at the very least, took advantage of the power vacuum that followed. After Probus's death, Carus quickly moved to claim the throne. He was proclaimed emperor by the legions in the province of Pannonia, where he was stationed at the time, and it is believed that he either had a hand in Probus's murder or simply capitalized on the moment after it occurred. His rapid rise to power is often seen as a result of his strong military background and his connection with the army. Carus's ascension was likely facilitated by the support of his troops, who recognized him as a capable leader after years of loyal service under Probus. Carus's legitimacy as emperor, however, was not guaranteed. His rise to power occurred amid the political chaos of the late 3rd century, when the empire was plagued by military revolts, civil wars, and external threats. Several other claimants to the throne had arisen in different parts of the empire, including Carus's own colleague in the east, the general Diocletian. Despite the turbulence, Carus was able to secure his position and consolidate his power through a combination of military prowess and political maneuvering. Once in power, Carus initially presented himself as a pragmatic and competent ruler. One of his first actions as emperor was to launch a series of successful military campaigns, particularly in the eastern provinces. The Sassanid Empire, which had long been a rival of Rome, was embroiled in internal strife, and Carus seized the opportunity to launch a campaign against them. In 283 CE, Carus led an expedition into Persian territory, scoring several victories and even capturing the Persian capital, Ctesiphon. This was a significant accomplishment, as it marked the first time in nearly a century that a Roman emperor had been able to penetrate deep into Persian territory. Despite his military successes, Carus's reign was marked by instability and tragedy. His sudden and unexpected death in 283 CE has been the subject of much speculation. According to some sources, Carus died of illness while in Persia, but others claim that he was struck by lightning during a campaign in the region. The Historia Augusta provides the dramatic account that Carus was killed by a bolt of lightning, a phenomenon that the Romans interpreted as a sign of divine displeasure. Still other sources suggest that Carus may have been assassinated by his own soldiers or political rivals, though no definitive evidence supports this theory. In the wake of Carus's death, his two sons, Carinus and Numerian, were declared co-emperors. Carinus took control of the western part of the empire, while Numerian assumed command in the east. However, the transition of power was far from smooth, as both Carinus and Numerian faced internal challenges and external threats that would shape the future of the Roman Empire. The brief reign of Carus, though marked by military success and expansion, was ultimately overshadowed by his untimely death and the political instability that followed. He did manage to restore some measure of order to the empire during his short time in power, and his campaign against the Sassanids was an impressive military achievement. However, his sudden demise and the uncertainty surrounding his rise to power meant that his legacy did not have the lasting impact of other emperors of his time. Carus is often remembered as a transitional figure whose reign bridged the gap between the chaotic period of the 3rd century crisis and the eventual rise of more stable and reform-minded emperors like Diocletian. The fact that Carus's reign was so short and his death so mysterious has contributed to the obscurity of his legacy, but his role as a soldier emperor who sought to defend and expand the Roman Empire in turbulent times remains significant. In the grand scope of Roman history, Carus was one of many emperors who occupied the throne during a time of great instability, but his brief reign offers a glimpse into the difficulties of governing an empire beset by internal strife, external enemies, and the ever-present threat of military revolt.